Now that the NBA trade deadline is over, it's time to look into the buyout market and see which players can help the Knicks with the remaining part of the NBA season. All that and much more on, you guys know the rest. It's your boy Dariel, Mr. New Yorker Nowhere, Mr. Queens Get the Money. Before I dive into today's video, I want to remind you guys that about 68.5% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Stop what you're doing right now and smash that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and then we'll be all good. So, NBA trade deadline, obviously it was an absolute whirlwind. Luka going to the Lakers, AD to the Mavs, DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers, Bogdanovic going to the Hawks, De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs, and a slew of other trades, obviously. But the Knicks, we only made one move. We sent Jericho Sims to the Milwaukee Bucks, and we got DeLon Wright back from the Milwaukee Bucks. One question that I have about the Knicks has been the bigs. With Mitchell Robinson being out, and even though it's looking like he's coming back fairly soon, this whole season, Cat has had to put the onus on his shoulders. He had to put the onus on his back and pretty much hold down the fort until Mitchell Robinson gets back. Now, Cat playing the 5, he has done that, but just like Anthony Davis, he has said that he likes playing the 4 a lot more rather than the 5. He feels that he has a better advantage at the 4. And on top of that, Cat wouldn't have to go against all of these different big bodies, the wear and tear. And up until this point, man, Cat, if you guys saw my post-game video last night when we lost to the Boston Celtics in the Garden, how they came into the Garden and completely kicked our ass, Cat looks like he's wearing down. And you could put the onus on Tibbs with the minutes and him just running his players into the ground. If you guys want to do that, that's fine. But it just seems like these little injuries are just catching up with Cat, and I am so thankful that the All-Star game is this upcoming week. We only have 2 games this week. I believe the first one is in Tuesday, I believe, against the Indiana Pacers, and the second one is, I think it's a back-to-back on Wednesday. I forgot what team it is. But the All-Star break is coming up, so Cat's going to be able to get some rest. But even when Mitchell Robinson comes back, there's still a question on if Mitchell Robinson can remain healthy from whenever he comes back up until however far we get into the playoffs or NBA Finals. We got to see if Mitchell Robinson can stay healthy. And the bigs backing up Cat right now is Precious Achiuwa. We can't even mention Jericho Sims because he was a part of that trade that got DeLon right here. So right now, Precious Achiuwa is backing up Cat. And right now, Precious Achiuwa is actually in the starting lineup because OG Anunoby is out with that foot sprain. So Precious Achiuwa, yeah, he's backing up Cat, but he's actually in the starting 5. So Cat, there's even more onus on Cat right now in that big man position. But going back to the buyout, there are specific rules that the Knicks need to follow in order to sign anybody from the buyout. There are a slew of players that actually could be waived by their team and could go into the buyout market. Some of those names include Javonte Green, PJ Tucker, Larry Nance Jr., Daniel Theis, Seth Curry, Josh Richardson, our very own Taj Gibson, Marvin Bagley III, Lonnie Walker IV, Patrick Baldwin, Torrey Craig. Well, Torrey Craig just actually signed with, was it Boston, I believe? Maybe Phoenix Suns? Chicago Bulls? I'm not sure. I saw the report that somebody picked up Torrey Craig. I just forgot what team it was. Chris Dartway and Reggie Jackson. But for this video, we are talking about bigs specifically. And the 2 names that popped out to me, Marvin Bagley III and Daniel Theis. Now, before I go into talking about those 2 names, there are some rules that the Knicks need to follow within the buyout market. And to explain it better, we got Ian Bagley. As a first apron team, the Knicks cannot sign a player who was bought out and had a previous salary of $12.8 million or more. Now, one of the 2 players that popped out to me, Marvin Bagley III, he's cutting it real close. Right now, he's making about $12.5 milli. And in Ian Bagley's tweet, it said 12.8. So if that's the case, then Marvin Bagley is somebody that we can take a look into within the buyout market. But Marvin Bagley's narrative is that he is a bit injury prone. And before getting sent to the Memphis Grizzlies from the Washington Wizards, if you could look all the way down at the bottom in the 2024-2025 season, he played 19 games and he's averaging 4.9 points, 2.9 rebounds, 0.5 assists, 0.5 steals. And yeah, if you look at the rest of his career with the Sacramento Kings, with the Detroit Pistons, Just the amount of games that he's played, his rookie year, 62, then 13, 43, 30, 18, going to the 2022, 2023 season with Detroit, 42, and then 26, 24. Like, yeah, he's a bit injury prone, but the reason why I'm talking about Marvin Bagley is because he is 6'10", yeah, a lefty. He's young. He's only 25 years old, and his natural position is a power forward. But we would be able to switch him out with Cat at the 5. Maybe put him at the 5 and then put Cat at the 4. I'm just looking for big bodies, man. I'm looking for big bodies with some skill. And I don't know, is it fair to say that Marvin Bagley hasn't had a fair shot? Maybe it is fair to say, and maybe he's just an injury-prone player. But Marvin Bagley is one player that definitely stood out to me. The other player that stood out to me is Daniel Theis. Now, Daniel Theis is in a different situation where for the season he's only making about $2.8 million, which is very under the Ian Bagley report of the Knicks can't sign anybody that was making more than 12.8 for the season. So Daniel Theis is definitely another player that caught my eye. It's interesting though because Theis, he's 6'8", but his whole career he's been playing center or power forward. So he's like an Isaiah Stewart for the Detroit Pistons, undersized, but he's been playing big his whole career. And again, hammering the point that in this video we are focusing on bigs because that is still the position that, in my opinion, I still think we're in dire need. And for the season, before he got shipped out to the Oklahoma City Thunder, I got the numbers here. He played in about 38 games, averaging 4.3 points, 4.3 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 0.5 steals, 0.5 blocks, 1.6 field goals made on 3.5 field goals attempted, 47.3%. The volume is just not there. 3-pointers made, that's not really, he has that in his game. He has a 3-point shot, but then again, I feel like everybody in the NBA nowadays has that part of the repertoire. He took 1 3-point attempt per game. That percentage is horrible. But if I go back into his career, his rookie season, his first 4 seasons, he was with the Boston Celtics. From the 2017-2018 season all the way up until the 2020-2021 season. And the Celtics have been going to the playoffs. They've been going deep into the playoffs ever since Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they connected. So Daniel Theis also has experience going into the playoffs, playing with a little bit more pressure on his shoulders. But, I mean, man, me personally, you guys know how I feel about the bigs that we have supporting Cat. Precious Achiuwa, he has, I don't want to say he's impressed me, but his defense is definitely good. Defense is definitely good. And if we're going to go into the buyout market and if we're going to get Marvin Bagley, who I just spoke about, he's a bit injury prone. He's still young, but he just hasn't been able to put it together. So are we gonna risk getting a Marvin Bagley in the buyout and then giving him minutes over Precious Achiuwa? And Daniel Theis, are we gonna risk an undersized big who, I mean, we also gotta, why is he bouncing around from team to team? Like, we should throw that out there as well. I guess for Daniel Theis, I think I would be a little bit more confident with Daniel Theis rather than Precious Achiuwa in the playoffs. But then Daniel Theis is just an undersized big, man. So it's just like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's always like a catch-22 with both of these players. Marvin Bagley with the injury prone, Daniel Theis is an undersized big. Even if we put him at the 5 and then move Cat at the 4, like, is that really gonna help? So I just wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to have a stream of consciousness. I wanted to talk it out with you guys. But leave it in the comments and let me know what you guys think about those 2 players and if they fit within the Knicks system or if you guys are just completely confident with the team that we have now with Mitchell Robinson. Let's just wait until Mitchell Robinson gets back. Let's hope for the best with the injuries with Cat, his knee, his thumb, the bone chip in his finger. Let's hope that he heals up. Do you guys want to do that, or do you guys think we should actually really look into the buyout market and specifically look into the bigs? And one small thing before I wrap up the video, I want to talk about what Jeff Teague had to say about Carmelo Anthony on his podcast. So more recently, on his podcast, I believe it's like the 520 podcast or whatever, they had a segment talking about Jalen Brunson and what would make Jalen Brunson the Knicks GOAT. So if you take a look here, what Brunson's done for the Knicks already is more than what Melo did. I love Melo, one of the coldest ever, but even when he had them fire teams with Woody, it still wasn't this. I was in the league. I never feared the Knicks. It was the Heat and Pacers. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I kind of wanted to like keep Melo's name within the Knicks fans' memory bank, because you guys know my stance on Melo, and if you guys don't know, this is the perfect opportunity to talk about it. Me personally, I got, as far as scorers, as far as being able to put the bucket and throw everything else aside, throw out the leadership, throw out the defensive prowess, throw out the being able to rile up your teammates, all that kind of stuff, throw everything else out the window. If you need someone, if you're rolling the ball out in the playground, and who would you want to just get you a bucket? Melo is in the conversation for being the best of all time at that. Now, even though I feel that Melo is a bit underrated as far as just his offensive ability, I still think the tenure that Melo had with the Knicks, part of the failure is on his shoulders. Again, Phil Jackson and the whole trading Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith to the Cleveland Cavaliers, giving LeBron James even more help. Like, whatever. Phil Jackson completely just messed up the Knicks when he came, which is crazy because, God, I just don't understand what he was doing, man. Phil Jackson was like, he's just one of the best basketball minds as a coach, and I felt like that could have been able to convert into being a GM, but it absolutely didn't, and it backfired. I just don't understand how bad of a job he did. I don't understand how that happened. But again, going back to the Melo tenure of the Knicks, part of the blame you could put on Melo's shoulders, because Melo, his whole career, he was just one-sided. He was just one-dimensional. Literally, I'm just here to score the basketball. And if you're the best player on the team, which Melo was whenever he was on the Knicks, no question, shouldn't you be looking to add a little bit more to your game? Shouldn't you be looking to make your teammates a little better? I get it. The talent that he had around him at certain points during his Knicks tenure, I get it. It was absolutely doo-doo. But even with the talent that you have, you are still considered the best player on the team. You're still looked at as the guy that we look to get us points, to make us better. And Melo, it just seemed like Melo never wanted that responsibility. And you got to question that. Like, you got to question that. If that's your best player on the team and he's not actively looking to make his teammates better, it doesn't matter what type of talent that he has on the team. I'm from an old school, I'm from a frame of mind that whoever is on my team, I'm looking to make them better. If I have to carry the load offensively, I'll do that. But at the same time, I'm gonna try and make my teammates better. And Melo, it never seemed like he even tried that. It just seems like Melo was like, I'm out here, I'm getting my buckets, and whoever's with me is with me. And I'm just like, yo, dude, that's the type of energy that you're coming with. That's why I like Melo's tenure with the Knicks. Like, I'm just like, yo, part of it's on you, bro. And it's not 50-50. I would honestly say it would be like 70-30. 70 Melo's fault, 30 Phil Jackson. If you want to go 80-20, that's cool. But I'm just like, Melo could have done so much more with the Knicks, man. He could have done so much more. And as far as like top players of all time, the reason why Melo is not really brought up is because I think because of that. He's just one-dimensional, one-sided, and even though he's really, really good at that, that's all he's going to be known for. But it's just interesting that Jeff Teague brought that up during his segment on his podcast, and I do want to keep Melo's name. I want to definitely show respect to Melo. Like, again, offensive scorers, we need to bring Melo's up every single time. Melo's name, we need to bring his name up every single time, because whenever you talk about offensive scorers, being able to get you a bucket, Michael Jordan comes up, LeBron James comes up. Even though that's not the best part of LeBron James's game. Even though he is the number one player in NBA history for having the most points scored in the NBA. Like, that's not the best part of his game, which is crazy. That shows you how much of a good player LeBron James is. LeBron James is able to make his teammates better. That is the best part of his game. Being able to score is just adding cherry on the top. But Melo, man, Melo, you could have done so much more, bro. And Jeff Teague bringing up this topic, when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is a good way to bring up Melo's name and show Melo some respect, but just keep it also keep it in the perspective of, yo, Melo, you didn't really do anything with us. You brought us to the second round of the playoffs once. Jalen Brunson has already done it twice. This year we should be going to at least the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see what happens with injuries and all this other stuff. But Melo tenure with the Knicks isn't great, bro. It's not great. So we got to keep that in perspective. Melo, salute to you. Offensive players, I'm always going to bring up your name in the conversations that I have with my friends as being able to get you a bucket. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, who else? Michael Jordan, obviously, Kobe Bryant, T-Mac. Just being able to get you a bucket, Melo deserves to be in that conversation. But if we're talking players, just top players of all time, Melo's going to fall at the back end of that conversation. So, Melo fans, I'm sorry that you guys got to hear it. I'm sorry I got to keep it real with you guys, but that's what life is. Life is just about living in reality. And I'm going to keep it at that, guys. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the whole buyout market, who the Knicks should be looking at, who the Knicks should be targeting. Let me know what you guys think about the way the Knicks have been playing these last few games. Talk to me about Melo and his tenure with the Knicks. Phil Jackson, is he more at fault or Melo? Let's keep it real, man. Let's keep it funky. You're the best player on the team, bro. You should have done more. That's it. I don't want to hear from anybody. But until next time, you know the drill. Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. Deuces Zeus for co-MVP. OG Anunoby for a speedy recovery. Taj Gibson being in the buyout market. Maybe Taj Gibson in the buyout market. There might be a return coming home. A lot of people aren't for that because we've seen that 20 times now. But Taj Gibson, salute to you. Taj Gibson for president. Queens are nowhere. Queens get the money. Queens get the money long time, no cash. You heard? New York or nowhere. New York forever. You guys know the drill. I'm out. Peace.